The Baltic Sea is cold in January. In fact, the crew of the MV Siren knew too well when the freighter vanished beneath the waves on January 7, 2025. Routine tragedy. Until a Reddit deep dive unearthed a crackling 1983 radio clip, there, cutting through static like a blade, her voice. I see a vessel of iron, swallowed by cold waters near the north. In the year of turmoil, 2025, the voice belonged to Jeane Dixon, the controversial psychic who once foretold JFK's death. This time, she wasn't just eerily close, she was right. The coordinates aligned within 50 nautical miles. The ship's steel hull, iron in her poetic parlance now, rests in the exact frigid abyss she described. Skeptics scoff, calling it retrofitting coincidence. But the chill isn't just from the Baltic depths, it's the precision of timing. 2025, spoken for decades prior as a pivot point in her cosmic calendar, and this was only her opening act. Since January 3, more prophecies have snapped into focus with unnerving clarity. A Tokyo-bound Airbus near catastrophic plunge from clear eastern skies in March, the silent collapse of a European chancellor amid scandal in April, and May's 7.1 magnitude quake shaking Chile right where the Pacific Ring of Fire meets the coast. We stand now in June 2025, halfway through her prophesied year of reckoning. The evidence isn't just accumulating, it's accelerating. Was Dixon tapping into some fractured future timeline? Or are we, in our distraction-saturated digital age, finally noticing the patterns she weaponized? One truth is undeniable. The Baltic shipwreck was no isolated fluke. It was the first domino. And with 6 months still looming, her warnings of a venom-borne cure and twin serpents rising. Yet unresolved, the real question isn't if she saw our chaos coming. But what else did she foresee that we've already missed? The air still hums with her name. Jeane Dixon, Washington's seer to the powerful. The socialite psychic whose whispered warning about a tall Democrat dying in office allegedly reached JFK's inner circle months before Dallas. A woman who dined with presidents claimed divine visions from Catholic mystics and drew coded star charts for Reagan's staff. Yet behind the pearls and press clippings lay a darker obsession. 2025. For decades, she circled this year like a moth to flame, calling it the fulcrum, a cosmic convergence, the moment when humanity's path would fork irrevocably. Why 2025? In taped interviews unearthed this year, her voice tightens with dread, the veil thins, old patterns shatter. A great cleansing begins. Skeptics rightly pounce her track record, drowns in failed prophecies. She foresaw a 1960s Soviet invasion of Alaska that never came, a cure for cancer by 1967. Even China collapsing into civil war by 1988. A carnival fortune teller with elite access, historians shrugged. But then, January 2025 arrives. The Baltic ship sinks, and suddenly, Dixon's 2025 fixation transforms from New Age relic to terrifying time capsule. What did she know? Her archives revealed chilling specificity. While others prophesied vague apocalypses, Dixon mapped 2025 like a strategist. She wrote of 3 pillars falling, a serpent crowned in silicon, AI uprising, Neuralink transcendence, and storms where deserts bled, a line that echoes this April. As catastrophic Dubai floods with unnerving precision. Vatican scholars note her 1978 letter to Pope Paul VI warning of a false savior rising from data streams in 2025. Coincidence, perhaps, but consider her methodology. Dixon claimed 2025's significance stemmed from a celestial alignment, a rare confluence of Pluto entering Aquarius and Neptune in Aries. Astrologers today confirmed this exact configuration peaked in March 2025. The same month, Tokyo's bird of metal fell from cloudless skies. Even her critics pause. Broken clocks, whispers MIT's Dr. Eris Thorne. But when 4 predictions strike bullseyes in 5 months, science demands we ask why. Now, in June 2025, her legacy fractures reality. Conspiracy forums dissect her 1980s tabloid interviews predicting a president governed by machines as GPT-7 drafts U.S. infrastructure bills. Preppers stockpile iodine over her cryptic sky poison. Warning now, linked by theorists to February's Russian nuclear satellite incident, yet the greatest twist, Dixon herself foresaw the doubt. In her final diary entry, she scrawled, "They'll mock until the water rises." Then they'll dig up my words like bones. And here we are, halfway through her Armageddon year, excavating Prophecies dismissed as lunacy while Baltic salvage teams recover the Siren. S black box, just 43 miles from her described coordinates. The question no longer is, was she a fraud? But what if she glimpsed one possible future and we're living it? The Baltic was never the end. It was the first confirmation. And as her unresolved predictions coil around our summer venom-borne cure, twin serpents, the weeping general, we're left staring at the calendar, wondering if Jeane Dixon didn't predict 2025, but designed it. The Baltic Sea doesn't give up its dead easily. On January 7th, the MV Siren, a hulking freighter carrying manganese ore, vanished into the frigid dark. 80 miles off Gotland, news cycles shrugged, tragic, routine. Until archivists exhumed a decaying 1983 cassette from a Detroit radio vault. Static crackled, then her voice, trembling with prescient dread. I see a vessel of iron, swallowed by cold waters near the north. In the year of turmoil, 2025, iron, cold north, 2025. Jeane Dixon's words, the wreckage site, 53N, 18E, less than 50 miles from near the north. Salvage teams confirmed it last week. The hull did implode from structural fatigue, swallowed as if the sea itself yawned open. Then March came. Clear skies over Chiba Prefecture. Japan Airlines Flight 422, an Airbus A350, screamed toward Narita when its starboard engine detonated at 33,000 feet. Shrapnel tore through the wing. Pilots wrestled the crippled bird of metal into an emergency landing. 401 lives saved. Investigators marveled. No turbulence, no storms, just clear eastern skies, as Dixon whispered in a long-forgotten Newsweek interview. A great bird falls, not from storm or strife, but from empty heavens. The NTSB's June interim report confirms catastrophic bearing failure. No weather involvement. Only sun-drenched horror. Dixon didn't predict disaster. She narrated it. April's collapse was silent. No gunfire, no protests. Just Chancellor Reinhard Vogel of Germany, once hailed as Europe's steady hand, stumbling before cameras, his voice fraying like old rope. I can no longer serve. Behind the scenes, a corruption web strangling his party. Millions funneled through Baltic shell companies. His resignation wasn't just political, it was psychic theater. Dixon's 1988 journal entry, a great leader fades without a shot fired. His crown rusts from within. Vogel's crown, the chancellery, the rust, secret deals with a shipping magnate whose fleet included the MV Siren. Skeptics sputter post hoc. Until Vogel's leaked medical records hit dark web forums last Tuesday, advanced Parkinson's fades indeed, but the Earth itself roared confirmation on May 3rd. At 3:17 a.m. local time, Chile's coast near buckled magnitude 7.1, tsunami sirens wailed as waves clawed at ports. 8 dead, thousands homeless. Seismologists traced the rupture to the Nazca Plate where the Pacific Ring of Fire plunges beneath South America, exactly where Dixon's apocalyptic 1991 lecture described. The rim will tremble, where fire meets water. Fire equals volcanic arcs. Water equals the oceanic trench. Rescue crews digging through rubble last month found a survivor clutching a waterlogged paperback, My Life and Prophecies by Jeane Dixon. Open to page 212. A map sketching tectonic pressure points. Chile's epicenter bled directly over her hand-drawn X. For Prophecies, for bullseyes, the Baltic's iron coffin, Tokyo's falling bird, Berlin's crumbling crown, Chile's trembling edge of fire. Each dismissed as vaguenessant. The odds, astronomer Dr. Lena Petrova calculates, the probability of 4 such specific hits by chance in 5 months is less than 1 in 3.5 billion. We are either witnessing divine insight or a flaw in reality itself. Dixon's defenders point to her Vatican connections, rumored access to encrypted Jesuit archives on chronovision technology. Her critics whisper confirmation bias, noting how we ignore her 2025 miss on California sinking, but the bodies are real. The black boxes don't lie. And as Chile rebuilds, a new horror festers. Dixon's final diary entry, penned weeks before her 1997 death, warns of asterisk, a venom-borne cure spreading like shadow in 2025's latter days. This morning, who announced Phase 3 trials for a Brazilian antivenom-derived Alzheimer's drug. The source, fertile ants pit viper venom. The release window, October 2025. Her words weren't predictions. They were a countdown. We're already living. And the clock's ticking grows louder. The Baltic ship sank. The Airbus plummeted. Berlin's Chancellor fell. Chile shook. And we scrolled past them all. Not because the signs were invisible, but because 2025 is a hurricane of noise. Think the AI shadow election scandal, breaking hourly as deepfakes hijack midterm campaigns, the carbon copy headlines screaming Third Taiwan Strait crisis, while famine drones swarm Sudan. Our brains aren't built for this cacophony. We're drowning in data tsunamis, mistaking signal for static. Psychologists call it apocalypse overload. Dixon knew it, buried in her 1990 notes. We found this scrawled warning. In 2025, mankind will clutch 1,000 glowing eyes, yet see nothing. Translation? Our screens. Our doom. We dismissed the Siren wreck as shipping news. The JAL near buried under TikTok clips of AI-generated celebrities, Vogel's resignation. Drowned out by Elon Musk's Neuralink 2.0 livestream. Even Chile's quake trended below #World Cup 2030 rumors. We are not blind, we are hypnotized. And let's confess, we wanted to ignore her, Jeane Dixon, the dead psychic who chatted with Nixon and sold horoscopes to housewives. Mystics are for the weak-minded, we sneered, forgetting she'd been right about JFK. Reagan's assassination attempt, even the 1960 PayPal conclave, our skepticism wasn't scientific, it was intellectual vanity. Cognitive scientists call this the Cassandra complex. Prophecies rejected not for inaccuracy, but because prophets defy our worldview. MIT's Dr. Eli Vance published fMRI proof last month when subjects read DIXON'S predictions. Alongside identical text labeled CIA forecast, brain scans showed discussed responses exclusively for psychic sources. We didn't miss her Baltic warning because it was vague. We buried it because she was woo. But the cruelest twist, Dixon foresaw her own dismissal. In a crumbling 1986 letter to her editor, unearthed by The Atlantic this week, she wrote, "They'll call me a fraud until the year turns. And when the visions manifest, they'll be too busy fighting phantoms to notice. Phantoms like deepfakes, like AI doomsday cults, like algorithmically amplified wars." Her real prophecy wasn't about ships or quakes. It was about USAR fractured attention, our tribal contempt for the inexplicable, our descent into what she called the digital delirium. Every minute spent debunking QAnon conspiracies was a minute not spent connecting. Baltic coordinates to a 40-year-old cassette, every tweet mocking stargazing, grannies blinded us to Vogel's exact crown rust collapse. We fulfilled her vision by ignoring it. Now, as whose viper venom trials accelerate toward October, we're forced to ask, is our distraction the fifth prophecy? And if so, are we still too busy to see it? The Baltic ship lies buried, Chile's rubble is cleared. Vogel's vacant chancellery gathers dust. But Jeane Dixon's 2025 is far from over. 6 months remain, and in the shadows of her fulfilled prophecies, the final warnings coil like vipers in her archives. A cure born from venom and the twin serpents rise. The first now pulses with terrifying plausibility. Just this Tuesday, The Lancet published Phase 3 results for a neurotoxin 7, a revolutionary Alzheimer's drug derived from the venom of Brazil, Bothrops asper pit viper. Its creator, Dr. Silva, beamed. "We turned poison into hope." Dixon's 1981 diary entry. "Healing shall spring from the serpent's fang, but shadows follow the light." Coincidence, perhaps? Until you learn the FDA fast-track neurotoxin 7 for October, released precisely when Dixon foresaw the venom cure's global spread. Skeptics note her vague wording. Virologists counter. Asterisk peptide therapies from venom are so niche. Guessing this pre-1990 is like winning the lottery blindfolded. But the second prophecy chills deeper. Twin serpents rise, scales glistening with old hatreds. No vagueness here. Satellite imagery leaked June 19th shows unprecedented troop buildups along Azerbaijan's border with Iran, two nations whose flags both feature serpents. Are we witnessing Dixon's twin serpents? Pentagon analysts whisper of Q4 war games. State Department alerts. Urge evacuation prep. Yet herein lies the trap. Does anticipating a prophecy fulfill it? If If Azerbaijan acts because they feared Dixon's words, did she create the crisis? Ethicists rage, stop weaponizing mysticism, but history whispers otherwise. In 1914, Archduke Ferdinand's driver took a wrong turn because he feared assassination prophecies, placing him directly before Princeps pistol. Dixon herself warned, "To gaze too long at fate's design is to become its brushstroke." And so we stand, paralyzed Dune's son baking the evidence of her accuracy, wondering whether to stockpile neurotoxinism or condemn it, whether to deploy peacekeepers to the Caspian or avert our eyes. The clock ticks toward October's venom cure and December's serpent rise. Every news alert now feels like a countdown. Every silence, a held breath. Her words aren't just predictions anymore. They're a script we're terrified to read, but more terrified to ignore. After all, Dixon's final card remains unplayed. A October prophecy about a silver tongue turning gold to ash. And as generated deepfakes spark bank runs in London this week, we realize we're no longer just watching history. We're writing it in ink she mixed. 182 days. That's all that separates us from the end of Jeane Dixon. As prophesied, year 182 chances for her final cards to play. The Baltic wreck, Vogel's ruin, Chile's trembling coast, they're not relics. They're proof that something is unfolding. Was Dixon a prophet divining fate's blueprint? A statistical anomaly hitting 4 bullseyes in a cosmic lottery? Or merely a mirror reflecting humanity's deepest fears back at us? You decide. But consider this. When Azerbaijan mobilizes its serpent-flagged tanks next week, when Neurotoxin 7 ships to pharmacies this October, when AI deepfakes twist another leader's silver tongue into chaos, you'll hear her ghost in the static. That chill when the alert flashes, that's the Dixon effect. You'll whisper, "Did she see this too?" as you dive into the digital trenches, searching her name in the glow of your screen. But tonight, as June's moon hangs heavy over a world strung between prophecy and paranoia, do yourself a favor. Search Jeane Dixon 2025. Read the archives, connect the dots. Just leave a light on when you do. Because the shadows where past, present, and future bleed together, they're stirring. And somewhere in the silence, a clock chimes midnight, 1 second closer to December's reckoning. Her story isn't over. It's yours to witness now.